Hey there, and welcome to CloseBot. First off, congratulations and get excited. We firmly believe that CloseBot AI is the best conversational AI tool on the planet. We are literally obsessed with making sure that it's not only easy to use, but gets phenomenal results for you and your clients. Now, the whole purpose of these Quickstart videos is to make sure that you know how CloseBot works so you can get up and running as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now, I myself run a pretty big agency. We've got the cool awards from High Level, and I don't say that to brag. I say that to let you know that even when adding new technology to our agency, it can feel like a daunting task. So if that's where you're at and you're not necessarily understanding how conversational AI works or how CloseBot works, rest assured that after these videos, you should be a CloseBot expert. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and jump on the screen here and I'm gonna show you the back end of CloseBot. So show you what your dashboard looks like, where everything's at, what everything does. And again, just a quick overview of each of these things, and then I will go into them in more depth in follow-up videos. Now, if you log in at app.closebot.ai, you have your account. First off, thank you for getting an account. And whether you have a test account or if you have a super user account like the one I'm about to show you, it should look very, very similar. Obviously, there's some slight limitations with a test account. You're limited to one bot. You can't put your own OpenAI developer key, which I'll tell you why that's important in a moment. But it should look very, very familiar. Now, if you do have the super user plan or you have a multiple bot plan, look at this option right here. Think of this as if you're using Go High Level or just basically how you switch between bots. When you drop this down, it's much like how Go High Level works with the different sub accounts. So these are your different bots. So if we click on a different one, it's gonna pull up that bot. It has its own unique API key and it has its own unique bot number. But that's how you know which bot that you are working on. Now, everything else is gonna be the exact same no matter which bot that you're on, but do, forewarning, make sure that you are on the correct bot and you're not editing, maybe a live client's, bot when you're supposed to be making a duplicate of it, or, just certain things that I've run into when going through here very quickly. So again, be well acquainted with that. Now your dashboard, this is really cool because it shows you pretty much all your statistics. Now right here, we've got a badge or honor system, meaning that as soon as you achieve certain milestones, like for instance, as soon as you send 1K messages, you get a badge. As soon as you send 5K messages, you get a badge. As soon as you send 10K messages, you get a badge. But it doesn't just stop there. When you start, uploading documents to your knowledge base, when you start booking, appointments or achieving objectives or booking appointments conversationally, you're gonna get badges for that. And the badges are really cool because that tells you that you're on the right path with CloseBot. You're literally getting it to not only talk to people, but you're getting it to do things that we want it to do. And that's what really sets CloseBot apart. We have an objective-based system to where when we tell it what we want it to go after, it's gonna go after those objectives and it's gonna start knocking them off the list. Now, for instance, we use these objectives to build out lead profiles for our clients, make sure we qualify people so they're not spending their time chasing down leads that might be unqualified. And there's just a lot of different things. We always tell everybody there is no limitation. In fact, the only limitation with CloseBot is your imagination. Now, here is pretty much the graph for how everything works. And let me switch to a live bot so I can show you kind of what this is gonna look like when you start using CloseBot. Let's find one we just set up here. Cool, so we just set up this lady. She runs a body contouring clinic and we're using CloseBot to book more body contouring trials. Now the cool thing is you can change the different criteria that we're looking at here, whether that's responses, follow-ups, contacts, appointments, and you can see this graph. So you can see that on the 31st of March, it generated 8 responses. On the 1st of March, it only generated 3 responses. However, on the 3rd of March, we generated 23 responses. So it's getting more and more frequent that it was using it, but you can see the usage graph. Now I personally love taking snapshots of this graph, especially when I'm setting up clients. So I can send that to them and send them like a shout out like, hey, congratulations, your bot is off and running and talking to a lot of people. Look at this graph, it's awesome. Stuff like that. Now when you scroll down, you can see what's called the log, and you're gonna notice that there's a goal section, a contact ID, time, direction message, message ID, and then bot ID. So your goal, that is your objectives, which I'll go over in a separate video. We'll show you where they're at in here, but I'll go over those more in detail in a separate video. But this is just telling us that it achieved a goal. Your contact ID is a unique ID for the contact within your Go High Level sub account so that it knows which person it's talking to, and you can find it easily in Go High Level if you needed to. It tells you, of course, the time that this message was generated, and then you can see the blue for outgoing message, meaning that's a message generated by CloseBot and sent to the prospect or to the lead, versus this orange one, which is a message that is incoming. So that's something that the lead has sent us that prompted the response by CloseBot. Your message ID is just the message or the unique transaction ID for that message. And then your bot ID is corresponding to the bot that this is sending from. So again, real brief overview of this dashboard. There is a lot more functionality with this, and we'll go over that in another video. But I just want to get you familiar with this dashboard because you might spend a lot of time, troubleshooting or looking through here and just kind of seeing how the bot's performing without having to go into a sub account within High Level. Now, You're going to notice these other options here. Modify bot is pretty much where you're going to live as far as building bots. And again, I'm going to go over this real briefly, and we'll go over it in more detail, how to prompt, how to, how the best practices for that, etc. So when you're in basically the modify bot area, you've got this general section. And matter of fact, let me switch to a bot that we're not using for a live client, just in case I accidentally type something in there. We don't want to have her bot going wacky because we were playing around with it on the back end here. So in general, you're going to notice that the label, this is the name of your bot in regards to for your reference. So when you're seeing this drop-down list, you're naming it so you can quickly reference it. Because most people, I personally can't remember my bot numbers, off the top of my head. However, we label it for a client or the purpose, and then the bot name, this is what the bot refers to itself as. So this one, for instance, we're calling Wally. We've been, depending on the industry, we might call it Chloe, we might call it Liz, whatever that looks like. It's just kind of personal preference. Some clients, if you're setting these up for clients, they want it to be them. So the person thinks they're talking to them. I always encourage giving a separate name. That way there's pretty much like a barrier of protection. So if the bot's saying something and then they get on the phone with the person that was supposed to be the bot and they don't recall that conversation, it just makes you look a little better if you have this layer of defense, like an assistant, quote unquote, that's responding to everybody, or Chloe that is our offsite booking manager, or whatever we want to call that. Now your response delay, this is pretty much how long it takes for it to generate a response. You could go lower than this, but keep in mind that the faster these responses come, and if they come too fast, it seems obvious that it's not generated by a human, or is way too quick to be generated by a human. So I typically leave this about 15 to 20 seconds. That seems to be the sweet spot to where it's still very prompt and quick. However, it still feels like a real human. Now, if you can go 45 seconds, you can, but sometimes when somebody's engaging, especially through like web chat or something, or if you're showing a demo, 45 seconds feels like a literal eternity. So again, I typically leave it on the standard 15 or even 20 seconds. And then bot usage, when you start having multiple bots, if you're setting it up for a client, you can literally limit this to 100 messages in 30 days or whatever you want to do. Again, if you want to give them like a test or a sample of what this is going to be like before actually letting it loose and giving them unlimited. So I typically just leave the limits off. Now, settings here, stop for upset lead. Now, this is pretty much where, if the bot detects aggression or somebody getting upset, maybe using foul language, curse words, if it detects that, then if you have this on, it's going to automatically stop that conversation and stop the bot from responding. That way, no further damage is done in the eyes of that client that might have been upset. Now, you can also have this trigger, and go high level, and that's a separate video, but you can have this trigger if it does stop because it's upset to notify, the account user or the business owner, so they can go in there and kind of see what's going on with that, and if it prompts a call or whatever. Now, stop when all objectives are done. This is really cool, and again, I'll go over this in a separate video, but basically whenever you achieve whatever you want to achieve with CloseBot, meaning if we want a booked appointment, after it goes through all those goals and achieves everything, it will literally stop, and again, you can trigger responses letting your client know that, hey, we booked an appointment, hey, we built out a lead profile, lots of cool things that you can do with that, and again, I'll go over that in more detail in a separate video. Your default model, you can change between the different options that are in here. Now, in the future, there will be even more options than this with different platforms out there. But for now, we usually use either the preview or the GPT Turbo New. And once we find one that we like, we typically stay with it. You're not going to notice huge differences, but you might notice just a way that it's talking that you like or prefer one over the other. Typos, AI typos, the frequency. You can literally set this from 1 to 100, meaning that if you look right here, you'll see like what that is. But essentially, you can have the AI spit out typos so it looks more human-like, and it will go and correct itself. So if it says but and it spells it B-Y-T on accident, it'll send a message with a little asterisk saying but. So again, just give it a more human feel. I personally don't use this because it generates more messages and takes more credits. They're very insignificant and cheap, but when you're doing it at scale with lots of clients and sending lots of messages to lots of leads, it can add up. But again, it's personal preference. I just personally don't use that feature. Frequency, break up larger messages. Now this one's actually one that I do use, meaning that if the text that's generated is a big block paragraph, it will break it up into multiple messages. That way it's not an overwhelming book that you're sending through message, which again, sometimes looks a lot more human if it's, broken up into, a series of messages. I don't know if you've ever done that personally where you're talking to a friend or something and you say something and you think about something else, or, you just break those up so it sends multiple messages instead of just sending like this wall of a paragraph or multiple paragraphs. And then words not allowed in responses. This one's really cool because let's just say, for instance, we have a client that sells high ticket programs, and they don't like to use the word payments. They're not saying, oh, it's 3 easy payments of $9.97, or they like to use the word installments. So here we can say we don't want the response to ever generate the word payment, and it will find alternate words for this. If we don't want it to ever say frick, not that I've ever had a bot say frick, but you kind of get the point here. Whatever words you don't want it to say, you're just going to type those and basically create them in here so it will refrain from saying those. Now, integrate, I'm going to go again briefly over these things here. You've got your different things that you can integrate. So if you want to create an external webhook integration, you can do that. If you're operating within Go high level, you don't need to do external webhooks or anything like that. It's pretty much done for you with the workflows. And you literally can just click the connect button, and it's going to take you to where your high level account is. Now, it's going to show you whichever high-level account you're logged into. So, for instance, we have multiple agencies. So you want to make sure that you're logged in at app.gohighlevel.com to whichever agency you want to connect the bot to. Otherwise, it's going to show different accounts. However, whichever agency you're logged into, it's going to show that account and all the sub-accounts that you could connect it to. But you do have to have agency admin privileges for that. So let's go back here. Once you connect that, it's pretty simple. And again, there'll be a separate video on connecting that. You can get your snapshot here, which will give you that link for the snapshot, and then you can get setup instructions. Now, OpenAI, you can literally create your own developer key, which is going to save you about 50% on the messages generated. That, again, is in another video. And then you're going to see some things down here that are coming with the new version of CloseBot that's coming out later this year. So when these go live, you're going to see that they'll be filled in, and then there'll be separate documentation and separate videos for these. Now, again, I'm not going to go over this in super depth because this is more of an overview video. We will go into these more in separate videos, but this is your main prompting area. This is pretty much where you're going to live. You can give your bot a voice. We typically you do friendly, educated, and fun. That way, it's a very bubbly personality. However, if we didn't want to do fun and we wanted to do professional or strict, whatever those words are, and even if it doesn't pre-populate, you can literally click it and create one. So this is the tone. I typically only do 2 to 3 voices at a time, but you're going to see that that's going to shape the personality of your bot. I put friendly, witty, and fun ones, and it was just like super over the top, like it was making like a joke with every response. And they were fun and cutesy, but like it just didn't seem like natural. And if it did seem natural, they're probably like, that person's kind of crazy, and I don't want to talk to them. So again, play with this until you find the tone that fits your business or your client's business. Now, the why the conversation is happening, and again, we'll go through this a little more in depth and what acceptable responses are. This is generally, you just let them know why this is happening. So for instance, this bot is a missed call text back bot. So this lead right here was interested in calling. They didn't get anybody on the phone, and we're having the bot follow up with them. And it's basically selling that it's a part of our software, Alpha Clicks. Now, important business information. You can give it a lot of information. You got 1,500 characters to do so, which, by the way, on this one you had 500. So again, less is more. You don't necessarily need to prompt, fit as much in there as possible, but you just want to give it some general information about, why this conversation is happening. Maybe you have a bot specifically for an event you did. Oh, we just did an event in Dallas for, coaching clients, and this is for them to test and, see what it can do for their business. Important business information. You could say things like, business has been around since 2009, staple in the community, stuff like that. How to respond. This one's really cool because, again, you're talking about you are a smooth Alpha Clicks team member named whatever @rep name is, and that's going to correspond with what you've named your bot. Your only goal is to walk them through the missed call text back feature and then schedule a demo call. So again, we're letting them know, like, you're slick, you're only walking them through this feature, and you want to schedule a demo call. Do not discuss pricing unless asked. Only talk about 3 features of Alpha Clicks: missed call text back, unified inbox, calendar. Do not discuss any other features. And this is super important because, for instance, with our clients in the chiropractic world, a lot of times we're doing this for one specific service, though they have many. But if we're running ads for one specific service, we don't want it talking about the different chiropractic decompression and neuropathy and body contouring and stuff that they do. We want to make sure that it stays at the task at hand. So we want to prompt and let them know that, we only want it to talk about this. You could say, don't discuss pricing at all, or, tell them to schedule a demo if they want to talk about pricing. So again, you're going to prompt it, and you got 3 different areas to shape not only 4 with the voice, not only to shape the voice, but why it's happening, give it the important business information that would be relevant to your clients in that industry, and then how to respond to, how you want the bot to respond. Now, objectives are really cool. And again, we will go over this in more depth for, future video. But you can set, we want to determine the lead name. We want to determine, booking, business name. So the bot is going to do these in order. Now, the cool thing is you can stack these. So if our first priority is getting business name and name, the bot is going to conversationally determine what the business name is. And again, you can put the prompt for that. We want to determine what the business name is, and then name. We want to achieve that name. As soon as that happens, it'll go to priority 2, which could be booking a call. Now, we have some pretty complex ones here sometimes, but a lot of times we keep it simple. We just want name if we don't have it, email if we don't have it, phone number if we don't have it, and then we want to make sure we educate them about what it is the service is, and then we want to book them for an appointment. So sometimes we're only using a few of these. Do remember to save. It's going to tell you that you have unsaved changes, but save. I can't stress that enough. There's a lot of safeguards in here to make sure that you're not accidentally getting rid of information by not saving. So just make sure that you save so that way you don't get upset and lose stuff here. So now when you're in this modify bot, this little plus sign, this is actually creating a new bot right here. And you can do it based on templates, which these are actually pretty good pre-filled out templates. So if you click that, it's going to create a new bot. If you want to duplicate this bot, which we do for our clients because we have a base bot in a certain industry, we'll duplicate that and then we'll go in and just add certain business information to make it unique to that business. And then of course, delete bot. Now, knowledge base. Now this is cool because it's going to correspond with the next thing I'm going to show you, which basically you can connect all these different things and once they're highlighted here, that means that it's going to fetch information from this knowledge base. So this is how you really train. For instance, we have a client that's using a bot for cell phone repair, and it has all the phones that they do, all the parts, and all the prices, and it can fetch that information from the knowledge base with an Excel or a CSV file, which is really freaking cool. Now, your knowledge storage, this right here is going to be where you upload different things. So there's a good thing, or I guess a good form of knowledge is putting a website in here. Now, forewarning, with websites, this is AI, this is software that's scraping the website. It's scraping everything. It's scraping all the links, it's scraping everything. So a lot of times it can give it more context than it actually needs. So this is a good option. It's a quick option. If you upload something like a PDF document or a CSV file or a Google Sheet, that's going to be better because it's usually more concise information. And then text, you can literally just type the text in here. And this could be as simple as going to a website and then copying the information that you want and just pasting it here and then saving it that way. But there's 3 different ways to add that knowledge to the storage or add that knowledge to the knowledge base there. And then again, once they're in here, you saw at Modify Bot, you can literally go in and connect these different knowledge bases to that bot with the knowledge here. So once we have it uploaded, for instance, if this is for detailing, we can click this button and we can save that on there so it's fetching information from there. Now, test your bot, very self-explanatory, really cool test feature, so you don't have to go through GHL or anything. You can test your bot before you connect it to yours or a client's account. And the cool thing is, you literally type a message, hi, what is this? And don't worry about it being grammatically correct. Cool thing with AI chatbots, they tend to understand you no matter how you're formatting stuff or even if you're misspelling stuff, unless it's just really, really out there. So you can see that it starts responding. If we want to reset this, all you got to do is click the reset button. It's going to reset all the goals, all the objectives, and you can go through it again like you're a fresh client, which is really cool because it clears the conversation history and everything. Now, global settings here. When you're on a super user account, you're going to notice that you have more settings than you would for just being on a test account. So global settings, you can turn the bots on or off. So for instance, a lot of times there's, times where High Level's making an update or OpenAI is making an update and things may go wonky just when they're doing that updating process and bots may be, acting a little different than they typically would. And there's pretty much a safeguard here that you can literally turn all bots off at the flip of a switch and then again turn them all on. So let's just say if you were applying an update and you want to make sure that bots weren't responding in the time that you were updating bots for you or your clients, you can literally go in here and turn off those bots. So that way it literally will knock them all out, and then when you're ready and done editing them or the update or upgrade has passed, you can turn them back on. Now again, white label, this is essentially when you have the super user account, you can white label your bots, and this will show you all the people that you have in there, as well as the settings for how to set that up. We want to make sure it has your logo, your domain, etc. Help and resource documents. This is great, and again, self-explanatory, but you can literally go and get access to more help articles, video library, group video call calendars. So if you want to hop on like some of these live videos and live builds that we're doing, you can hop on there. Done for you services, which is really cool. We literally have preferred partners where you will see that you can go and have somebody build out for you, which is very, very common and popular if you want to focus on just the sales. There's even a company that is white labeling selling these things for you. So if you have an audience, you want them to be sold for you, you can go and contract them to sell them and even build them so it's hands off for you. Obviously Facebook groups, so if you're not already in there, get in there because it's a great resource where you can ask questions and engage with our awesome community. And then developer, there's more developer resources where it's going to show you more things if you're a developer that you would maybe need to know. And then last thing, there is feature request, which essentially if you have ideas, it's much like CloseBot. It's much like Go High Level where you go and submit your ideas and then you rally people to upvote those and you can see exactly what's in progress. Right now we're actually working on Anthropic being a fallback in case of OpenAI downtime. So again, OpenAI is up quite a bit, like it's 99% uptime pretty much. But if they are down, you can have it fall back to a different bot to where your bots are never, skipping a beat. So that's something that's in progress and near completion. So super, super cool feature, but you'll be able to see everything that's planned, everything that's in progress, everything that's complete, and even the feature requests and create a feature request if you'd like. And then the last thing is just your affiliate link right here. So this is where you go and set up your affiliate links so you can share CloseBot with the world and be rewarded for it. So we do have a pretty awesome affiliate program where you get 20% just by referring somebody because we know once you start using it, we know this technology is something that everybody needs. So go ahead, go through CloseBot, get well acquainted, and I will see you in more in-depth videos here shortly.